Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. So this is going to be more Netflix Avatar news here, including some videos that seems like the fandom missed for a few days before finding last night. So what that is this Netflix Facebook page video, 15 seconds long, that they posted back on Saturday, February 10th. And again, it only really came to light within the fandom last night. 15 seconds, lots of fight scene, quick cut shots. So I have some screenshots to go through here. There's some pretty good stuff in this one. And then the other one to focus on at the start here is a promo video that apparently was posted on TikTok. That was found and posted here on the ATLA live action subreddit. So that's a 29-second trailer, but there's actually less in this one than the first one. So there's a few things to point out with this one, but we'll just go through them here. So we start off with the Netflix video with these kind of square screenshots, and then we'll get into the TikTok stuff. So we open up, of course, Aang saying, "I'm the one you're looking for," so revealing himself as the avatar to Zuko. Just a nice clear shot of Aang from the opening episode. Then we get a very interesting shot of this man in a red kind of cloak being hit by a water attack that I guess comes from Katara. The only thing that really comes to mind for this one is that I'm assuming this probably has to be from like the Jet sequence, that Katara and Jet are together, that maybe he is targeting this man, thinking he's the maybe assassin, maybe it's that plot point, but instead of like Sokka being around Jet when this happens, is it Katara who's kind of maybe forced to participate in one of these like attacks on ultimately just a citizen? That kind of, I think, makes a little bit of sense to me, but I'm not really sure what to make of it. It's because it's mainly just to show like a water attack, someone getting hit with one. It's a little bit random, but interesting. It's definitely in some sort of a like foresty kind of area, and I think that roughly fits with the Jet stuff that we've seen so far. And given that that hasn't been too much, I think it's a reasonable shout. Then we get a cool shot of Aang backflipping through the air here. There's a Fire Nation soldier here. Seems like Sokka is witnessing this happen. So this is Aang, I guess, coming back to defend a village. Cool sequence here. I'm interested to see how many action set pieces there are across all the various episodes, but this is one from the early episodes. Then a very interesting shot once again of a master airbender seemingly dropping from the sky or the ceiling, kind of spirals down, kind of falls into sort of a ground pound style thing, and it cuts away from this clip before we see what exactly he does. But I'm guessing it's some sort of a air into the ground to send people flying backwards. But it really highlights that because this is like an unknown master airbender, I'm guessing we're getting select focuses on just individual battles of master airbenders against Fire Nation guards, maybe before we build up to Gyatso versus Sozin as maybe the kind of finale of this flashback sequence, the Southern Air Temple attack as part of the Air Nomad genocide. I wonder, like, is this just a very random clip, or is this going to be like a full-on fight scene with this character? Like, I wonder, will this character get named, or is it just another airbender in the area? But still, it looks like they're going to, in addition to showing like the full-scale battle happening in the kind of temple courtyard and the one-on-one fight between Gyatso and Sozin, it looks like there's going to be other sequences in this. So that kind of suggests it might actually be something quite extended in the opening episode. So something to keep an eye out for certain. Then, the big one. Avatar Kyoshi makes her proper appearance in one of these clips. So we've seen like hints of this. We've seen the statue get quite a bit of focus. Clearly, I think shots almost maybe leading into this. But here is actual Avatar Kyoshi on screen. So very interested to see what's kind of going on here. I'm assuming this is, like most people have speculated, Kyoshi basically taking over Aang's kind of body, the kind of Avatar state kind of possession style thing. He's maybe communicated with the statue here, had the conversation with Kyoshi, and she's saying like, "I will step in, are you ready? And we'll get this," as she defends her island once more. A question I have though about these sequences with past avatars is, obviously, I'm guessing when Aang connects with the statue, he will have some sort of a back and forth discussion, past life conversation with Kyoshi, which will then lead into the Kyoshi action scene. But are we going to get Kyoshi backstory in this? Like, will Kyoshi just mention stuff from her past to Aang, or will we see any of that? Because I'm assuming they're probably going to want to bring up the history of the island here, like that, how Kyoshi Island was formed, who Avatar Kyoshi is. You have to give context, I think, to make the significance of this in an early episode, like episode 2 potentially. Make it make sense. So I'm just interested to see how much screen time Kyoshi actually has within this episode, because there's going to be a lot going on in these episodes, so I'm just keeping an eye on how much screen time there will be. But looks pretty good. Again, it's a very compressed social media video, and then I'm trying to take a good screenshot of it, but it looks, I think, pretty good. The depiction here of Kyoshi. We have another Kyoshi shot later on, so we'll talk about that one as well. Then Suki defending Sokka here, but this is mainly just to highlight the cool kind of transition they do in the trailer here, where they go from Suki's fan into her mother Yukari's fan, which is very cool, and I like the pattern on it. It's pretty big as well. Makes sense to deflect bending attacks. And yes, that's what she does. She shows it to the camera here, and then boom, she blocks a fire blast with it, highlighting that she can fight too. So I'm guessing the idea is that she was a Kyoshi warrior in the past, probably technically still is, but she's more the leader of the village at this point. So I'm guessing her history is that she was maybe potentially a leader of the Kyoshi warriors like Suki is, and that might be part of her arc with her daughter, of course. The Suki and Yukari arc will be interesting to see how that goes overall, but I like that Yukari is getting involved in the action here. So that's cool. I'm excited to see how the whole sequence plans out with like Zhao involved in this, Zuko, and maybe the rest of the group involved more in the forest, and just to see how exactly it plays out. Then we have Ozai versus Zuko Agni Kai. So Ozai fires a fire attack at Zuko. Zuko kind of dodges to the side, and it seems like he also kind of firebending block disperses Ozai's attack, because you can see here the kind of blast sort of like comes apart as Zuko kind of does a kind of with his hands. So I'm guessing like he's on defense here. He's not attacking back. We don't see that happen here. So that's good, because I think you have to keep that element of this fight in place, that Zuko doesn't attack back, because it's such an important aspect of like the burning of Zuko being unjustified because Zuko didn't fight back. So there's that. He's just defending himself. Then we have Bumi blocking his own boulder coming towards him. So I'm guessing this is just after the clip we have previously, where Aang does the kind of backwards vault over this rock, and it's obviously coming back towards Bumi, and he has to kind of burst through it himself. So that's going to be a cool sequence. Excited to see the whole Aang Bumi sequence, definitely. Then we get Gyatso, I believe. So yeah, Gyatso fighting a Fire Nation soldier. I'm guessing this is just before Sozin arrives on the scene. And so he has his staff out, and we just see him kind of attack. And we get then a clearer shot here, and we just kind of cut away after that. It's lightning quick, little tiny pieces of action scenes. But I believe this is Gyatso. The mustache definitely matches up. And it looks like it's roughly the same room that I think we see the Gyatso Sozin sequence. So I'm guessing he does just get rid of some guards here, because I believe in the Sozin sequence, we see a couple of guards on the ground when Sozin walks in. So you could sort of begin to see how this scene ends up happening. That Sozin's arrival is going to be a big turning point potentially in the battle, that probably the airbenders are defending themselves quite well, but Sozin is as like a master firebender, turns the tables enhanced by the comet. I'm guessing that's how they're going to play it up, that he will be on like another level. But this is where they have to showcase that Gyatso is potentially the best of the airbenders, air nomads. He has to put up a decent fight against Sozin, but he still, you kind of know he has to go down, and I'm so interested to see how they do that, to get across how skilled Gyatso is, but still get across how threatening a master firebender is, enhanced by the comet. So definitely something for them to work on and get right. I hope it's cool. Then we get a cool, interesting shot here, again, from this interesting kind of almost mysterious marketplace scene, where it seems like Zuko and Aang come into contact, kind of separate almost from everyone else, like they just randomly come across each other. Is this just from like a random start of an episode where like, this is where the waterbending scroll comes from and then the gang flees? Or is this like after all the blue spirit stuff, and this is how they do the sort of like escape from the stronghold type thing, and that they end up together, they have to go to this town together? Who knows? It's one of those ones where I think a lot of people found this one a little difficult to predict. Like there's a few places it could go, but it's not super clear. Then we get into the TikTok shots. So the first one here is just to highlight Appa and the rest of the gang near Crescent Island. Just highlighting that, yes, unlike what like a lot of the other trailers have just shown, I think, Aang gliding towards Crescent Island, this confirms that like Appa and the others are in the vicinity, or at least arrive here at some point. So they're keeping that aspect of things correct. It's not that like Aang completely goes off on his own. The rest of the gang is here. Another Aang kind of smiling scene as we get the dialogue in the background. Always remember who you are, I suppose, for Aang to keep the kind of fun-loving nature kind of in play. So that's nice to see from a character point of view. Another Kyoshi shot here, where we get, again, if not for how kind of crushed in a way the video is on some of these social media platforms, this would be a little bit higher quality. But you can see a slightly closer up look at Kyoshi's face here. So you can see the eyes glowing once again. It's going to be pretty good. I'm very, very interested to see the portrayal of Kyoshi, definitely. Then final shot, I believe, here is just, I think this is Sokka dodging Firebender's kick here. So this is obviously from very early on, because we see that Sokka, I think, goes to defend basically the gate, the entrance into the tribe. And it seems like they're going to portray him as being at least somewhat competent early on. Whereas in the original, he is not really much of a warrior, like at all, especially in the early sequence here, where he gets a lucky hit in with the boomerang, but like otherwise is no match. So here they're trying to be like, no, he can take out maybe the normal Fire Nation guards, but Zuko will be more than a match for him. So it'll be interesting to see how exactly that goes in terms of how skilled they portray Sokka to be. Will it just be that like he gets the advantage on one soldier? Aang mostly does a lot of the work later on, maybe when he comes in, and we had the whole backflip sequence from before. You know, we're looking at the presentation of all the characters, how they're going to do it. But yeah, they are those two social media clips. So with that out of the way, that brings us into the stuff that we got today. So today's video kind of footage, as posted on Twitter here on the official Netflix Avatar account, is this 44-second long clip that seems to be a bit of a kind of mostly Omashu focused trailer, but there is a little bit of Kyoshi stuff at the end. It's more footage. I don't really know otherwise what way to kind of define this trailer, but you know, they continue to put out more and more scenes and clips and stuff like that. So let's just get into talking about this one through the screenshots that I have here. So we get an extended look at Aang and Teo's kind of flight throughout Omashu here. So a lot of the scenes we have seen already, but you can see this kind of cool one where they kind of swoop down and then they go up into the air. So that's cool to see. There is a kind of almost blink and you miss it moment when Teo comes right across the camera before they cut away. So we haven't actually got a super clear look at Teo. So this one you can actually see his face a little bit here, highlighting that they were hiding it a little bit because they showed us this scene of Aang kind of flying towards the camera quite a bit. But who would have thought that a frame or two later, Teo would swoop by. So that's very nice. Then we get into some of the Boomy stuff. So here is, I guess, Boomy playing up being the ancient old king, I'm guessing. Showing off a little bit of his kind of, I suppose, crazy look. The kind of reimagined for the live action Omashu here. So you can see some of the guards in the background. Some of the other kind of, I guess, important people in Omashu. So that's kind of cool. But they immediately do transition it into Boomy fighting Aang. So they show a little bit more extended look at this, where he does an initial kind of standard, classic earthbending attack of just stomping the ground. Rock comes up, punch rock, but then they show one of Boomy's trademark moves here, the double foot drop kick, which is very, very cool. Again, stomps the ground, brings up a big boulder, and then does a flying double foot drop kick. Very cool one. If you're wondering why I'm calling it that, the old Avatar trading card game, the Quick Strike card game, had a Boomy card called Double Foot Dropkick where he does this very move. So I think it's a fun little reference. It's of course in the show as well, but it's always cool to see something like this, and it looks like it's really, really nicely done. So cool stuff there to see more of the Aang and Boomy fight. Then we get a cool look at this shot. So we've seen bits and pieces of this one, Zuko and Iroh standing up against the Earthbender soldiers, but now we see Iroh attack. We saw previously him do a firebending attack that obviously I guess happens just before or after this, but here we see him doing the chain. So obviously he's been chained up. He obviously breaks free of the trains by doing some sort of a firebending, kind of heating it up move to kind of burn it away, or this is just how he's choosing to attack here. And with his kind of molten chain here, he breaks through some earthbending attacks here. So very cool stuff, getting across the sort of power game that Iroh of course has. So new little angle on that scene. I've asked the question in a couple of these videos going through clips. Okay, we've seen Teo and Aang flying out over Omashu, that's a cool kind of action set piece, but are we going to see a mail system action scene? And it seems like we are going to get one, but it's going to be with Katara and Sokka here on the mail system. I do wonder what exactly brings them to go here, and that, like, has Aang already done it here? Because it almost feels a little bit weird, like, if Aang's going to have the scene with Teo and a mail system kind of ride, but they might do it in that way anyway, because it seems like Omashu is very heavily expanded out. But yeah, Sokka and Katara at the very least are in it, and they eventually have to jump off for some reason. So I'm guessing there's an obstacle up ahead, or it's some sort of a thing where maybe some, like we sort of saw in the show, maybe there's a cart they're coming up to ahead that has like spears pointing out, and they'd have to jump off before that. But still, cool look at the outskirts, the kind of ringed walls, I suppose, of Omashu here, and nice to see this. And you get a look at the kind of valley here, and like there's a bit of secret tunnel stuff going on in or around here, so fun stuff there. Then we get a nice close-up on Boomy's face here as he starts the fight, of course. So this is a pretty clean look here at it, so that's nice to see. Then the get into the sort of Kyoshi section, which is interesting given what I discussed at the start of this video, which was that we actually have two scenes where we actually see Kyoshi from, in one case, like 3 days ago. But in this clip compilation, they're clearly building up to the idea that Suki, Sokka, and Zhao are all witnessing Kyoshi's arrival on the scene. She has just arrived from the sky right into the middle of the village, and they are clearly stunned to see that it's not really Aang there, it's Avatar Kyoshi. So they don't show her off here, but of course we saw her earlier on before. So it makes you wonder, like, where maybe the two earlier ones that haven't been as heavily promoted, were they meant to come out maybe a little bit later? Because it seems like they're kind of doing this slow and steady reveal where they have a kind of plan in the marketing for, like, we will reveal this character and scenes with this character with a week to go, with a few days to go. But still, nice that we're still continuously getting new stuff. Like, we're for sure, I think, going to get something tomorrow. And then the day after that, it's 1 week to go. They're definitely doing something then. And then we'll see what they do for the final couple of days. Because these clips are nice, but we're beginning to get quite a lot of them. So, as I said in the video, I think yesterday, about the only thing I think we really need at this point is, like, I would like to see a continuous scene. Like, put out a minute and it's just a full scene, not all these quick cuts that only show you like a second or two, maybe a little bit more than that. I want to see some continuous, like, stuff, just to see how the show is on a kind of minute to minute kind of basis overall. So that's that. And then the only other non-Netflix piece of news is also in relation to the news we got yesterday about the pre-order for the Uncle Iroh Adventure Guide. The email that they sent out specifically by Magpie announcing this has some extra information in it. So up here they say legends like Heiran, Luten, Uncle Iroh, Tonrock, and more. So Heiran gets confirmed here. So that's going to be a Kyoshi era legend NPC. So that's going to be very exciting. I know Kyoshi fans are going to be really excited to see another piece of official art for Heiran. And hopefully we learn some more about her in her bio as well. I guess that confirms that Heiran will be the, I guess maybe the NPC of focus in the Kyoshi era story. Tonrock's going to be in here, so that's very cool. So this is of course Korra's father, so he makes complete sense for the Korra era. He is the chief of the Southern Water Tribe, world leader, significant to other characters. I'm interested to see if his bio is going to have new stuff, specifically I suppose in relation to his past stuff with his father, with his brother, maybe the little period we don't know a lot about when he was banished, how he came to the south, meeting Senna, that sort of stuff. They do confirm Uncle Iroh is going to be a legend NPC. So they were pretty clear about that, but because he was the focus of the book, it was just kind of like, oh, is that one of them? But yes, it is. Then they actually mention here the Kyoshi era description. In the Kyoshi era, your heroic player characters may help fend off invading pirates. So some sort of a pirate invasion type thing is going on here. I'm wondering, depending on where this is set, because Heiran might be the legend NPC of note, it might be in a way set before the Kyoshi novels potentially, and like might this involve Tagaka potentially? It would be interesting if they kind of leaned into that a little bit, but we're probably still expecting another Kyoshi era character, I would say, if they're going to do the 2 NPCs for every era. So that's that. They also confirm the 4 playbooks for the characters. So the Bound, the Broken, the Authority, the Architect is what we have there. Then they also have another list here where they say Luten. Interestingly, Piandao is spelt wrong in a different way in this one. Pandao instead of Piandao. So they really struggle with that one for some reason. And they confirm Old Toph is, of course, Korra era Toph. So it's beginning to kind of come together, I think, a little bit. This would realistically leave us as probably assuming that Zaison is in here. And that means that we probably have a Kyoshi era character that we don't know, and a 100-year war era character to go alongside Luten that we don't know. So it'll be exciting to see those ones get revealed. But otherwise, yes, the pre-order again is still open. Oh, actually, I should add in, I almost forgot about this. The digital version is available on Drive-Thru RPG. So let me just find that. I think I posted about it earlier on. So yeah, you can see here. Drive-Thru RPG do have the digital version of Uncle Iroh's Adventure Guide available for pre-order. So if I just take a look at this here, you can see that it is $19.99 if you want just the digital copy of this and you don't want to worry about paying shipping for the physical copy and stuff like that. It is available here if you want it. So that just is to get all the buying options out there for everyone, but that is the situation. So, I think that's it for the video. So, in the comments, let me know what your thoughts were on the stuff I talked about at the start of the video. Those Facebook and TikTok clips that we got. Then, of course, what we got earlier on, today's kind of new update for Netflix Avatar, the 44-second trailer, kind of focus, I guess, maybe on sort of like Bumi, Omashu primarily. And what are your thoughts on that? And then any extra thoughts on the Avatar Legends Uncle Iroh book also. But yes, otherwise that has been the video. That's been it. Thanks for watching and bye.